The Bloop presents the Rum Review with your host, Dr. Hunter S. Snook. How was your Halloween, Hunter?
It was way too spooky. I went to a costume party as Richard Nixon, which is a total bust because everybody's dressed in these red robes and singing something in a pig Latin. And at some point, I knocked out. And the next morning, I woke up in a dumpster. One of my arteries missing.
That doesn't sound like a costume party, Hunter.
What can I say? They tried their best.
So, this week's film was Cabin in the Woods.
Most misleading title ever.
Well, that's kind of the point.
You know, say what you will about kilograms of outer space, you gotta give it this. It was exactly what it said on the can. This piece of drip, it deceives you into believing that's about teens in a cabin in the woods, when in fact, it's about S.H.I.E.L.D. trying to appease Cthulhu by killing college student stereotypes.
Who happened to be staying in a cabin in the woods.
Alright, fine, it is about a cabin in the woods, in the way that Chinatown is about Chinatown.
Now, if we could move past this grievous deception, can you tell us about the actual content?
Well, if you just watch the first 5 minutes of it, you never guess it was a horror movie. You think it was a Lost Pilot of the Office, guest starring Richard Jenkins and Bradley Whitford.
That's why you have to watch past the first couple of minutes to see that Richard Jenkins and Bradley Whitford are planning on carrying out a very important...
No, don't want to spoil anything.
If they don't want to hear any spoilers, they can't ignore this part of the show.
Fair enough.
So yes, it turns out that Jenkins and Whitford are surveilling some college students
who appear to be trapped in the late 90s or early 2000s.
Yes, it seemed like that's what it was going for.
Well, I was going for Krista Connolly dancing in her panties. Or I would if I could.
And thank God you can't.
But anyway, the college students, who could be identified as the whore, the athlete, the scholar, the fool, and the virgin, head out to the cousin's cabin, where they unintentionally stun zombies by reading some ancient language in a book found on the premises. Why does that sound familiar?
Because it's a deconstruction of films like Evil Dead.
Deconstruction? Is that what they call ripoffs these days?
Look, if there was a tree rape scene, then I would be fine with you calling it a ripoff.
Dang it. Maybe the director's cut there is. So yeah, the thing of it is, the people Richard Jenkins and Brad Whitford work for cannot hurt the students without them provoking it. Otherwise, the ritual won't work. So they try to make them randy by manipulating the environment, and in turn letting the zombies punish them, so to speak.
Well, that explains and makes sense of why the protagonists of horror films made after 1980 are always stripping each other.
Did I mention that the so-called cabin in the woods isn't real? It's just a setup made by the spooky S.H.I.E.L.D. people to lure the students in and kill them.
I don't think you did.
Shoot, my bad. So yeah, the cabin and the surrounding area are meant to trap the students so they can't get killed. And every time they get killed, the blood is stored in a cave painting by that AIDS guy.
Who?
You know, the guy who did the stick pool animation about AIDS. He was also on Sesame Street.
I know who you're talking about, but I have no idea what his name is.
So yes, there are 5 of these cave paintings, and so long as 4 of them are filled, the ancient ones will be pleased.
And the virgin is allowed to go free.
Indeed, but what happens when they think 4 of them are dead, when only 3 are?
You'll have to watch to find out.
Although you should. It wasn't worth the time I spent buffering out on stage with.
Well, you gotta admit, the menagerie of monsters was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were pretty awesome. Particularly the merman.
Haha. Yeah, especially when he spouted when he ate Whitford.
Poor fool. And freaking Pinhead, man.
You mean Buzzsaw Man?
Could have used a killer clown or 2.
Or a gremlin.
You know, if you really think about it, the spooky S.H.I.E.L.D. people were the good guys, because they were trying to save humanity from the ancient ones.
Yeah, like how the Smoky Man is the good guy on the X-Files.
I mean, they had blood on their hands, or rather their AIDS guy cave paintings, but they were doing it for a good cause.
Yeah, and let's be honest, when they killed this particular set of students, was humanity really losing anything?
Well, they lost Thor.
Oh yeah, but his character was a dumb jock, so it was worth it.
Wow, you would defend murder if it was done to a jock?
In real life, no. In film, yes.
I hope the spooky S.H.I.E.L.D. people use you in one of the rituals and unleash the merman on you.
And I hope you're picked to be the fool and killed by the zombie rednecks.
Why would I be the fool?
You smoke enough weed for it.
Nonsense. The most potent drug I take is Senokot.
Which has hallucinogenic properties, apparently. Oh, before we finish, I want to make something clear. Joss Whedon did not direct this. He produced it, he wrote it, but he did not direct it. Drew Goddard did.
Oh, that's mighty thoughtful of you. It's like how everybody says Nightmare Before Christmas was directed by Tim Burton, when he just produced it.
Yes, we don't want Mr. Goddard to be consigned to obscurity like Henry Selick, particularly after directing such a good film.
His first, too. Well, I'm Dr. Hunter Snook, and this has been The Rum Review.
Bye, Hunter.
Bye, Noe.